Hey guys, welcome back. Today, we're taking a look at the creepy and slightly unnerving lore behind all of the Halo Combat Evolved maps. Now, why creepy and unnerving, I hear you ask? Well, Halo CE was very much a child of late 90s / early noughties sci-fi, which had a really big focus on mystery and making everything feel much bigger and more significant than us. It was also our first entry in what would later become a massive expansive universe, and the aesthetic and ambient sound design of these maps really reflects that. Everything feels like it was created and, for some mysterious and slightly unnerving reason, abandoned by a civilization far more powerful and more intelligent than us, and one far beyond our comprehension. It really makes you wonder why such a seemingly advanced race would just abandon these places, and it creates this foreboding atmosphere that's only strengthened by the fact that despite how deep Halo's universe is now, these areas and locations still remain extremely mysterious and relatively untouched, which gives off the idea that regardless of how much we've learned about the Halo universe, what we know is really just the tip of the iceberg, and these maps represent the dark mystery beneath the surface. Now, I don't know if that's like an overly deep interpretation of these maps and their overall designs, it's just how I've always felt playing them, especially recently with how old these maps are now. They give off this really ancient, almost nostalgic vibe that I can't quite describe in words, but hopefully over the course of this video I managed to sort of show you guys what I mean. Right, so before we get to the topic at hand, two things really quick. Firstly, a little bit of e-begging. This video was another one of those ones that took a long time to make. It was a lot of work, so, you know, if you do find yourself enjoying it at any point, I'd really appreciate a like, a subscribe if you're new around here and still haven't hit that juicy red button yet, and also a comment telling me your favourite Combat Evolved map from a lore perspective, and also why, although you might have to wait till the end of the video to do that. And secondly, I've been speaking a bit with Marty lately. Yes, the Marty. So he's been frequently uploading loads of really cool, rare, old Bungie and Halo footage to his channel recently, and he's trying to hit 100k subs for that glorious verified tick, and I mean, come on, if anyone deserves to be verified on YouTube, it's Marty O'Bloody Donald. So after this video, make sure you go and subscribe to our Lord and Saviour over there, and if you haven't yet, check out his videos. I just gave a shout out to Marty O'Donnell. 2020's wild, dude. Right, okay, so without any further ado, let's dive into the lore. Although at first, Battle Creek may just seem like a peaceful brook babbling through a small ravine, perhaps something more serious lays beneath the surface. The presence of two structures, identical in layout, foreign in nature, and adorned with opposing red and blue sigils, suggests this area was once more than just a peaceful homestead. This mystery is furthered by the rather haunting cold colour tone and fog present in the lower levels of each structure, and by the fact that there appears to be no foreseeable escape from the gorge. It's clear this place was once a staging ground of some sort, but for who, and for what purpose? You ever wonder why we're here? The canyon of Blood Gulch is so vast, arid and endless, it often makes its inhabitants think similar things. Now, whether that was intentional, part of its original design to make those battling here think of nothing but the battle, or whether it's just a byproduct of the hot, dry air that constantly circulates this dry valley, we can't be sure. What we can be sure of, though, is that this training ground was once home to many legendary battles, fought between ancient entities, some now lost in the mist of time, and some who linger to tell their tales. A winding alpine canyon, dangerous heights. More beneath the surface, Danger Canyon is everything settlers on this mysterious ring have come to expect. Or is it? Beyond the vast, sweeping valley, laid out in an almost intentional manner from one structure to another, lies a series of dark and claustrophobic tunnels into the mountain. When these winding paths reach their epicenter, a majestic room, since overtaken by the Halo's newest arrivals, is presented. However, at the helm of this room is what appears to be some sort of ancient control panel made up of undecipherable glyphs, symbols and shapes, and looming down over it, a mural of some sort. Whatever this means and whatever its function, it's a clear indication that whatever or whoever built it is far beyond our human comprehension. Maybe the dangerous heights and hazardous bridges are there for our benefit, should they return. Located in the middle of an infinite ocean, Death Island is an aptly named island architecturally inspired by Alpha Halo's silent cartographer. But as with many ancient Forerunner structures, far more lies beneath the surface of this landmass than what is visible at first glance. The rather typical beaches feeding into cave systems that lead to clearings and small valleys are only the tips of this iceberg. There are also some less natural formations that tell a different tale. What has more than likely been a desert island to many a meddler marooned on this halo was once a training ground for its creators, possibly even one of ceremonial or religious significance if the murals on the walls are to be considered. Beyond that, the clear wall markings, teleporters and colour coding suggest once again that the architects of these mysterious, forgotten structures were no strangers to war. Among the few locations we've visited so far, Icefields is an outlier. Steeped in an icy tundra, this ancient training ground epitomizes the Forerunners' architectural methodology. To not build over an existing environment, to not erase it, but rather to instead build into it, using its natural quirks and details to their advantage, all while creating mesmerizingly beautiful arenas. However, given the environmental changes Halo undergoes during times of extreme biohazard, what this ancient civilization were training to fight in these fields of ice bears no thinking about. Infinity is a location that truly lives up to its name. A howling, arid canyon, vast in almost every way and designed to almost confuse its inhabitants. Designed in such a way that every path leads to the same destination, it could be speculated that this canyon was designed intentionally to hone one's ability to resist the monotony of repetition and to help them avoid insanity. The roaring Arctic winds of Sidewinder would have you convinced that this canyon is deserted, and although it may be now, the structures in the mountainside indicate that it wasn't always this way. Whatever these tunnels and passageways were once used for may be beyond our comprehension, but the true scale and isolation of this icy tundra are instilled into the hearts of any who come across it. Situated in the heart of one of Alpha Halo's many dense woodlands, Timberland, a hilly clearing among the dense surrounding forest, paints a far less serene picture. Among the babbling brooks, waterfalls and rocky outcrops lies the many memories of ancient battles once fought here, but there is no doubt that there are still many more yet to be fought. So, before we continue our foray into these mysterious and long-forgotten locations, a quick word from the sponsor of today's video, Audible. If you want to dive further into the mystery of Combat Evolved, then Audible has exactly what you're looking for. The Fall of Reach tells the lead-up to Halo Combat Evolved, The Flood is the official novelization of the story, with far greater depth, detail, and even extra storylines, and First Strike covers what Chief, Johnson, and a band of ODSTs do immediately after the game's ending, and how they get back to Earth. Just go to audible.com/HiddenXperia, or text code HiddenXperia to 500 if you're in the United States to begin your 30-day free trial. With this free trial, you can claim one of these audiobooks, or any other Halo audiobook on Audible for that matter, for free, to keep forever and to listen to on any device, anywhere. And if you don't like the one that you choose, then you can even exchange it for another audiobook. So go to audible.com/HiddenXperia, or text HiddenXperia to 500 if you're in the US to begin your 30-day free Audible trial and dive into Halo's expanded universe today. Back to Alpha Halo. Derelict, a long-forgotten space station of the ancients who built the Halo. Categorized as Deep Space Anomaly number 0198 by the UNSC, this long-abandoned vessel watches quietly over the planet of Threshold. Its original purpose? Far beyond our comprehension, although if the symbols engraved into the alien metal walls partially lit by aging lights are anything to go by, it may have been something of a worship station, holy in its nature. Or, alternatively, an observation platform left suspended in deep space, allowing these ancients to keep a watchful eye over their domain. If you didn't have Japhyrophobia before, you do now. Very few ancient relics inspire a feeling of just vast insignificance, like this bridge facility. Suspended above an abyss of ghost-like mist, the eternal dark that surrounds this megastructure makes it feel even more imposing than it already is. The sheer scale of the valley, the bridge, and the cliffside catwalks makes you wonder, what did this ancient civilization mean to accomplish here? Were they simply testing out new methods of gorge traversion? Or something more sinister? A vast, deserted hangar-like room in a mysterious, void-like location on Alpha Halo. Scattered across the ground are tombstones. Whether they represent what our tombstones represent or something entirely different is unknown. But if the eerie ambience of Hangham High, complete with the almost alien roar-like sound, is any indication, whatever once inhabited this strange place is long dead. Claustrophobia and tunnel vision complete with extreme mood lighting. The chilling blue and aggressive crimson lighting of Longest exacerbate the structure's more unsettling atmosphere. The walls, adorned with engravings, give off a sense of ceremony and significance, and the low murmur of ancient machinery in the background is ever present, reminding its inhabitants that more lies beneath the surface. Training, parasites, maintenance, the intended purpose of this alien structure is unknown. The effect it has on one's psyche, however, those red lights are enough to make even the strongest cyborg uneasy. As the name would suggest, the prisoner facility was once used to store those who violated ancient laws. Few windows, difficult to traverse, viewing windows that look down upon the lowest level. This structure, as alien as it may be, feels oddly reminiscent. However, if the low white noise of this penal facility is anything to go by, those who were stored here did not retain their sanity for long. The reason for their now absence can only be left to the imagination. Dude, you really need to. This facility, colloquially named the Chill Out, is the first Covenant facility that we're visiting today, although given the Covenant's heavy use of Foreigner tech, it could be considered a Covenant-Foreigner hybrid. The foot-level mist that covers the lower levels of this facility adds to its air of mystery. It's very alien in its design and gives little away as to its intended purpose, but if the low, constant hum of energy is anything to go by, it could be some sort of power plant. One that's seen better days. Situated in the middle of a vast, infinite ocean, miles out from the land of an unknown planet, Damnation is an ode to the technological genius of the Covenant. As one of their many hydro-processing stations scattered across the stars, it's here where repurposed Foreigner machinery is used to generate hydropower for their ships of all sizes, to fuel their path to total galactic domination. In the heart of deep space, two UNSC Halcyon-class warships stand parallel, their bulkheads removed to expose platforms, teleporters, and barrels. Whether this is just a training simulation, or the top brass have expanded their budget and actually modified two entire ships for training in such a hazardous environment, is unknown. But simulation or not, the constant howl of deep space is enough to haunt any leatherneck. The warning tape, however, provides sufficient safety for all who train here, even those who wish to practice boarding action. The United Nations Space Command seeks to not only train their Spartan clones to be strong physically on the battlefield, but mentally as well. And such was the genesis of the Chiron training facility on Mars. 9 rooms, each more claustrophobic than the last, connected only via a closed loop of teleporters, designed to confuse, bewilder, and fatigue those who train here. But those who make it out venture onto the battlefield with a mental fortitude like no other, and an undying wish to never return to Mars. Although initially appearing as a confusing maze of ancient tunnels, gradually ascending or descending, with teleporters scattered around and the odd, perplexing monolith, these tunnels have undergone some unintended modifications at the hand of the Halo's newest inhabitants. During the battle on this ring world, a mysterious and seemingly forgotten group from the Pillar of Autumn begun digging, mining into the surface of the ring and stumbling across this strange web of interconnected tunnels buried beneath the surface. Be it part of the Halo's self-sufficiency systems, a string of maintenance tunnels, or an ancient buried place of worship for those who constructed it, one thing is for certain: you do not want to be stuck in this rat race. And finally, for today's rather enigmatic lore video, we have a long-deserted UNSC training facility. What's commonly referred to as Wizard by the crew of the Autumn, an inside joke I'm sure, is a combat training arena that once resided on the Pillar of Autumn. Now, stranded on the Halo and laying in her grave, the Wizard Arena remains derelict, its warning light still activated, but its days of training well in the past. Those who once honed their skills here, likely lost or dead. With the looming mass of Threshold and the Arc of the Halo now its only observers, it's safe to say this facility's training days are over. And so, that's it. All the Halo Combat Evolved maps. Fellas, I'm not gonna lie, this video was probably the biggest nostalgia trip that I've ever had making Halo videos. There's just something, I can't put my finger on exactly what, about Combat Evolved's maps that's so aesthetic in a weird way. Like the visual design, the ambient sound effects, the layouts, the settings of the maps. They're also reminiscent of other late 90s / early noughties sci-fi arena shooter maps. Maps from games like Turok and Unreal Tournament and Quake. I can't quite put my finger on the exact properties they share. The best I can really say is that they all have this really unique vibe, which I know is a really bad way of describing it, but that vibe just doesn't exist in later games. The maps make you feel like you arrived just as their previous inhabitants left, like you just missed them, and now you're stranded there in these arenas alone with only the ambience of the background mechanisms and environments to keep you company. There really is nothing like these maps, like at all, like not even in like Halo 2 or Halo 3. I could chill on these maps for hours and just listen to the ambient noises. Like, you'll notice that I didn't use any Halo music in this video because, honestly, I didn't feel like I needed to. I felt like even using Halo music would have ruined the atmosphere that I was trying to build. I also tried to write the lore for each map in the same style that Bungie wrote all the little snippets of lore for Combat Evolved back in the day, like keeping it quite short, quite sweet, and pretty mysterious, leaving like an air of mystery for each map. So hopefully I managed to pull that off because I put quite a lot of work into doing that. If I did, and if you enjoyed it, then please, I'd really appreciate a like and also a subscribe if you're new around here. Man, I can't wait to do this for Halo 2's maps. I really can't. Whether this video blows up or not, I really don't care. I love making these videos and it's got to be done. So, yeah, with that little tangent all over and done with, that's all for today. Don't forget to check out Marty's channel. The link is down below in the description. You won't be disappointed. And also, massive thank you to Audible for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate the sponsors and also you guys for accepting the sponsors and checking them out as well during just crazy, unexpected times like what we're going through right now globally. These sponsors are really useful for not just me, but other content creators as well. So I just really appreciate you guys just checking out the sponsors and all that. I really do appreciate it. So, huge thank you to Jayden OSullivan for becoming a new primordial over on Patreon, and also massive thank you to all my other existing patrons over there for the continued support as per usual, and thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'll leave you now with one of my favourite ambient sounds from Halo Combat Evolved, and I'll catch you all in the next one.